Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Valeria and this is the Off-Road Range. Have you noticed the abundance of advertising that has filled all areas of our lives? Social networks, banners, advertisements in stores, in and on public transport, advertisements from corporations, bloggers, various companies, and so on. I am not a marketer, not an advertising specialist, and I cannot divide into styles and types the way an expert can. But this is not the task in my today's video. My goal is to talk about how advertising kills your thinking and choices, reduces the quality of work, the quality of leisure, and the quality of life, and to think about what you can do about it. We are all so accustomed to thin advertising everywhere that one day we stop noticing that it is there, and we stop reacting to it. We stop, but not our brain and subconscious. Advertising has a great influence on your perception of any product. Advertising is the reason why we consume more and more products, services, and content on an increasing scale. If some time ago you paid attention to what you see, now advertising has become so ingrained that it has become the norm for perception. Algorithms select new and new information and products that you consume without thinking. Wherever you are, you will be forcefully showed something tasty, bright, and enticing. From advertising, we learn about a large part of everyday, ordinary life. And our purchases and choices are based on the knowledge of advertising, rather on an actual value and importance of the product. Whether you want it or not, you have to receive this information, and it is stored in your brain. Behind all the garbage that we see in recommendations, in stores, on banners, on websites, in pop-up windows, when watching videos, behind all of this, the concept of value has disappeared. Moreover, we ourselves don't know what value is. It's just a stream of information. These are streams of garbage and news that endlessly flow one after another. Something constantly clogs the brain, no matter what we do. And all this information is created according to the rule: the more content you consume with your brain turned off, the better. Therefore, today the main task of this video is to determine the negative impact of advertising on our lives, on our choices and preferences, on the brain and addictions, on the knowledge gained and its analysis, on goal setting and quality of work, and to determine what we can do about it for ourselves. This is constant stimulation of the brain with information, which means the constant production of hormones and their short-term wave-life effects. And it makes you dependent on these macrodoses of hormones. Also, this is consumption. Any consumption, be it food, shopping, viewing pictures, stimulates the production of hormones, bringing you the effect of pleasure and goal achievement. Both the things lead to a constant stimulation for consumption. That is, developing the habit of consuming, no matter material or virtual, visual, sound, or sensational. A human is made this way. He needs to receive information. But in our times, 99 and 9 in the period % of information has become meaningless and empty, and dulls us. Constant consumption manifests in all areas of our lives, in all activities, and it becomes a pattern in your life. These are unnecessary purchases and waste of time and money that you do not notice. And if the question arises, why do you need this? Then most likely you will not find a logical answer, and you will say, I just like it, or I want it, or you will find an excuse why you need it. But now you really need it because you were convinced of it, and now the price for it seems small, both financial and moral. And you were convinced that getting it for yourself is worth it and will pay for itself. This also refers to all kinds of endless purchases of all sorts of nonsense, when people have wish lists with 100 of items that they don't need. Constant consumption also manifests itself in the consumption of information, of course, because it's easy to occupy your time by scrolling through the feed, and it doesn't require the use of your mind. Because it's easy to occupy Because it's easy to occupy your time by scrolling through the feed, and it doesn't require the use of your mind. And most importantly, content is endless and you like it. So you can spend time like this endlessly. Firstly, your feed and your recommendations are based on your previous interests and are analyzed by the algorithms. And secondly, the algorithms suggest you the most simplified and vivid content that you don't need to think about. You simply consume, scroll in the feed, and think about nothing. Therefore, the recommendations of your social networks are not necessarily an advertisement of a blogger to be shown. It can be simply a light content that will be shown to a wide range of audiences. Consumption also relates to meaningfulness in relationships, when people communicate with each other according to a pattern, not being able to actually be deeply interested in someone, even having a desire, not being able to find common topics for conversation and to become close, not being able to define and derive common values and methods to build relationships on so that they become long-term and reliable. But what does advertising really lead to? And what do you get as a result of consuming surrogate values such as advertising? We do not have truthful, complete, comprehensive information. You don't know about the properties of what you consume. You don't know about the impact on you. You spend money on something that you can get cheaper with the same characteristics. You spend money on something that will not bring you real results, but imitation. An example: medications that do not address the cause. For example, cold remedies, which firstly do not cure you, and secondly do not boost your immunity simply because it is impossible. There is no such connection in the body. Yes, there are a number of traditional, folk, Chinese, herbal and other medicinal and natural concentrates known in narrow fields in medicine that will put you on your feet in one night. But they are very little known and very little accessible due to their individuality and prescription, and they are very carefully selected to suit all the characteristics of your personal body. This applies to solutions to any problem that the internet offers. Not a single problem will be solved if you buy something, eat something, do not eat something, take general courses, and so on. The fact is that due to the abundance of fast and simple information, because of easy advice that is repeated on websites, on accounts, in all groups, a person simply doesn't know how it really should be. Many things are simplified to the detriment of quality, and this is hidden. Or information is presented in a simplified form, hiding many of the details that make things complex and of high quality. Both are lies, but quality information is not easy to find, and it is even harder to understand. What is quality? Advertising the same product over a period of weeks or months, after being viewed 100 times, is very likely to persuade you to buy that product, even though you will need to spend your money to do so. You will consider that you made this decision on your own and look for excuses for the purchase. But in fact, your preferences haven't been formed and you don't know what you want. Hearing the arguments that you will not buy what you don't need, I will answer that the algorithm of social networks and advertising companies have long analyzed you and your preferences. They will not waste their resources on selling what you don't need. If you see an advertisement, it means you are its target audience and future consumer. In the case of advertising entertaining content, you don't even have to buy anything. You don't have to choose, decide and think whether you need it or not. And moreover, you don't have to spend money. Just scroll the feed and have fun. Feed your brain slop. Your feed is filled with new posts and videos that match your previous viewing history. You don't even need to search for anything to entertain yourself. The algorithm will do everything for you, and you don't have to think neither when choosing what to watch nor when watching them. Why is this bad, you ask? These videos and pictures do not cause harm. I enjoy these videos and pictures. I personally do not pay money for advertising. The blogger receives views and earns from advertising, and the advertiser makes a profit from whoever buys his products. And if it is bad, then no one will buy it, and the advertisement will not help. So why it is bad? Answer in the comments. The psychological trend of pleasing yourself, delighting your inner child, rewarding yourself for some goal achievement fits perfectly with the advertising of all sorts of crap that supposedly should make you happy because you were convinced that it gives emotions. But these are deceptive emotions, caused, among other things, by the injection of hormones that arose from the fact that you thought the same emotions on your screen or an advertising banner. Moreover, they are short-term and, in general, in my opinion, they are not needed at all. It's like an artificial emotional twin that you create for yourself because you don't know what you consume and why. And in this way, you create a chain of dependence on something. And it is not just the addiction that is bad. It is the fact that you create a constant connection in your brain that you need something to feel good. And in my opinion, quite often it looks pathetic and unworthy of a human, when a person cannot fully function until he performs a thought and fictitious insignificant action. Moreover, there is a huge difference between a real addiction, which is formed in the brain and body, replaces certain substances, hormones, neurotransmitters, and so on, and which is difficult to get rid of, and an addiction that has been implanted in you by constant repetition that you need it, it will make you happy, it will make your life better, everyone has it, and so on. To roughly summarize the above points, we can say that logical decisions are not made. You are not allowed to make a choice. Your head is filled with garbage. There is no real information. The essence doesn't change, but the cover and bright words change. And the price increases. Dear viewer, your support will allow me to devote more time to create quality content. I also welcome your suggestions on what you would like to see on my channel. I talked about my plan for videos for 2024 in the previous video. What other negative impact does advertising have on our lives? It distracts from work or learning if you use social media for learning or if it is your job. Not only is it distracting, but it also wastes your time as you have to wait until you can press the skip button. Advertising in general affects your ability to concentrate and adapt over time. It takes 22 minutes to concentrate on a task. That is, only after 22 minutes of working on one issue do you fully concentrate and are able to make progress in solving it without thinking about any other things. If you're constantly reacting on other things, then your brain is constantly receiving information that is not relevant, instead of spending all its resources on one issue. The consequence is an increase in the length of time for concentration, the habit of being distracted by something, and dispersing your resources on several things at the same time. Accordingly, the quality and speed of what you do decreases, even if you want to do the job well and quickly. Sometimes I just cannot watch some tutorial videos because ads pop up every few minutes. There is a concept of multitasking, and in some tasks it is relevant, especially if we are talking about work that requires maintaining attention on many tasks at the same time. But drinking coffee, listening to music and working at the same time is not multitasking but frivolity and relaxation. Work means that you direct all your resources to one thing. In addition, this is irresponsibility, because even if in the process of work you don't need to put in a lot of mental effort and you need to carry out certain routine work according to the protocol, then the likelihood of error from the human factor increases. Also, constantly being in a state of uncontrolled switching of attention scatters the focus of activity and the ability to go towards the goal. Moreover, the presence of extraneous sounds and many objects in the field of vision subconsciously distracts you from work and reminds you of other things you need to do. Therefore, it is so important to work in silence and in order. Otherwise, robots very soon replace humans in 99% of activities. By the way, there is an opinion that if you get ready for work in the morning for more than an hour, you have problems with concentration and understanding what are you doing. Of course, everyone has different morning routine. For example, some do physical activities for an hour and a half, and someone get dressed, eat porridge and leave in 15 minutes. But the point is that whether you are aware of your actions or, relatively speaking, You sit and look at the same point for half an hour or scroll the feed for half an hour, and after that you try to find your things for another half an hour. Are you really in the moment you are in? Or does this moment simply pass by without any of your participation and make you a slave to further circumstances? There is no time for oneself, for thinking. The part of the brain responsible for consuming and perceiving information is constantly active, and another part of the brain is not working. This is the part responsible for processing information, analyzing its usefulness, structuring data, for understanding what relates to what, where is the truth and where is a lie, and where you are in all this, what you do, where you are moving in life. Of course, there is no creation behind all this. Creating is difficult in general. You need time, silence, concentration of the mind, and most importantly, you need thoughts to think and give birth to. And if you consume, then in your everyday life, in the rhythm of time, there is simply no opportunity for a single thought to appear in your mind that you can create. And if you ask yourself and me, why creating at all if can consume and enjoy life, we can discuss it. Write in the comments. The approach of consuming the most light, bright, simple, attractive content can be viewed in several ways. We can say that the dullness of the population plays into the hands of those in power. People have no opinion, no choice, no goal, no dissatisfaction with the current situation. And if there is, then all we can do is complain to our friends and discuss with them terrible news and injustice. And then we go to work without changing anything and without understanding how to change. The circle lasts until the end of life, and most people don't control their actions and desires and don't exactly know what and why they want regardless of the standards of society, while the elite calmly remains in its places, controlling the entire population, understanding that it is almost 100% safe and playing some games that involve us indirectly. However, recently, for about 40 years, the situation throughout the planet has been getting worse. Wars are going all over the world, but we do not hear about it. This year promises to be even more difficult, and the severe crisis will affect more and more people. But we are still hiding our head in the sand from reality. But then it will be too late to change anything. Someone may invoke conspiracy theories and say that I am making things up and exaggerating. But firstly, I do not believe that there is any special plan for us, ordinary people. And even if there is, and even if I suddenly somehow find out about it, it will not change the situation in the world. Secondly, some people tend to call the widespread crisis a conspiracy theory in order to find an excuse for them to do nothing, since they will classify a conspiracy theory as a hoax and crazy. And since no one recognizes himself crazy or stupid, it means that everything that happens is just a row of random events. Everything will go away on its own. The situation will improve somehow, and the main thing is to wait and hope. That is, I consider it the first reason for the dullness of the population. The second one remains. Just business. Just money. Dumb content gets more views, and social media platforms, bloggers and advertisers all benefit from it. Social media platforms are gaining more and more viewers. They are becoming popular and making money from it. Bloggers get more audiences and advertisers come to them and bring in money. Advertisers in their turn receive more sales, since guaranteed audience see them and buy the product, even if the quality and benefits are very questionable. And all this regardless of morality and the understanding that this brings harms both individually to the one who's watching and to the whole planet, since the overall level of human development is decreased. There is an expression: it wasn't me who deceived them, it was they who allowed themselves to be deceived. However, if you do this, your quality as a person is low. Advertising has become the main promotion tool. This is clear to everyone who starts their own business or becomes a blogger without meaning. It is impossible to promote without advertising. But moreover, it is impossible to promote with advertising, since complex topics are uninteresting. Due to the abundance of stupid content and stupid advertising of bloggers and from bloggers, those people who bring benefits to the masses for free not only go unnoticed, but also have a stigma of meaninglessness, waste of time, and a colorful chatterbox. What we can do? Consume less social media in general. Reduce the consumption of entertaining content and instead of it, learn and develop. Do it, firstly, for yourself, and secondly, to change the world, since smart people should gradually make the world a better place. Set up your computer browser to block and filter ads. Choose safe ad blockers. If you are interested, write in the comments and I will make a video not paid for by anyone. Choose a browser that generally filters more ads and shows less advertising. Disable geolocation. In this case, even if you see advertising, it will not be tied to your location, which means it will have less influence on your choice and your consumption. And if you don't believe all the nonsense that is advertised all over the world, regardless of location, for example, earn $10,000 in one day or invest with a return of 200% in a month, then you're also more or less safe from impulsive rash actions and other scam projects. And if you believe this, seriously, change your mind. There is no easy money. Take time to be alone in silence. Try not to think about anything. Use a VPN or proxy server. There is one more point about why anonymity is important and why anonymity doesn't mean criminality or suspicion. This is the protection of your brain, thoughts and decisions. That is the quality of life. Here I want to make a link to my video number 7 about information security. There are a lot of important things about how to protect yourself from data theft, from identity theft, how to protect your privacy, and a lot of other things. But you should understand and be aware that not every VPN, and especially not a free one, is suitable for these purposes. If you are interested, write in the comments and I will make a separate video. At the same time, do not use unknown and suspicious browsers and connection methods, and this will also increase your vulnerability. If you are already listening to advertising and want to make a choice on this basis, then study the product you want to purchase, or at least forget about it for a few weeks. If you don't remember about it and your life doesn't get worse, then you probably don't need this product. Support those who make quality content, because these are rays of light in pitch darkness. Often such content is searched for purposefully, as it is needed for training, to gain experience, and so on. Most often such content is watched much less, because it is necessary to think when watching, and it cannot be done when doing something else at the same time. You need to choose one thing. But people are constantly in a hurry, afraid of missing out on something or losing something, or just getting used to living like that. However, in the end, people miss out on life, since they didn't achieve or didn't move to anything specific, but fussily switched from one thing to another. Or they achieved, but they don't like it, since they blindly follow the society without understanding what they want and how to get it. Study the time you use applications on your smartphone. If social networks are among the leaders and your total usage time exceeds 3 hours a day, even if it is your job, you have serious problems. Study other aspects of the world, as they are interconnected and, moreover, integral to each other in big business. For example, your personal security, collection of your data, analysis of your financial transactions, ownership of your money, and so on. To start with, it is an expansion of your horizons and a better understanding of the world. Moreover, this is understanding that your life doesn't belong to you. And finally, this is awareness of problems in the world, thinking about how to solve them, and ideally, taking actions to solve them. If advertising is gone, then you will not know what you want and what products are available. The selection time will become much longer. You will have to determine for yourself what you want and study the composition, necessity, usefulness, and price match of what you want. You will have to work more with your brain. You will have to acquire knowledge and process information instead of eating what is given. There is such a peculiarity that not thinking is reflected, among other things, in how important you perceive information, how your brain processes it, and how you apply it. If you received the most rare, valuable, and expensive knowledge, but applied it superficially and were unable to combine it with knowledge from other areas that you have, and didn't come up with any interesting and better solutions and ideas, then you didn't recoup time and money invested in education and didn't make your thinking more flexible and creative. You will begin to make choices based not on how everything else does, but on how you need based on your conditions. You will face criticism, misunderstanding, unsolicited opinions, and negativity. You will understand that many people, even those who have been working in a certain field for many years, most often also see a template, stable solution that cuts off any variability and expansion of options. You will change your attitude towards the phrase "I want," since it will begin to mean confidence in what you need and not an imposed opinion, and it means that you will not be easily confused. You will do better and better things because you will think through exactly how you will achieve a certain result, regardless of whether you want to lose weight or get healthy or something else, or whether you want to build a home, career, or business, and also relationships. Of course, advertising for psychologists and psychological support services also widely distorts the reality of communication between people and attitudes towards each other. Such psychologists or advertisers on social networks will simply put a bunch of labels on you and your partner and will create preconceived opinions and patterns of behavior so that there was an imitation of family happiness and not a truly deep relationship. But this doesn't mean that I question real qualified specialists and their knowledge. You will understand the value of work and the value of knowledge, and this will also relate to the creation of quality content. I make a focus on this because social networks, content creation, visuals, and advertising in all of this are integral and, in some cases, necessary part of our life. And finally, we will enhance the effect. Quiet our experiment. Information garbage, background auditor and visual noise. The consumption of information greatly affects you personally, the creation of stupid content, and ultimately the structure of society. Its values, ways of earning money, the quality of education, the importance of professions, the quality of communication, creating your life in different areas on different scales. Using the methods I recommend above, not developed by me personally, but collected over my life and experience, you will significantly improve the quality of your life. In addition, in order to further experience the difference of perception of information in general around you, after implementing security measures, I suggest you a voluntary experiment which I talked about in the video number 3. At that time, much fewer people were watching me. In any case, the experience from this experiment will be very useful to you. So I suggest you to do the following practice. Just refuse from social networks for 30 days. If social networks are a source of income for you, then this method is not applicable. But using the above security measures, you will be less susceptible to advertising influence on you. If you are a blogger, reconsider your approach to content creation and do not fool yourself that it is people's fault that they consume what you produce. I can talk about this in one of the next videos. If you are an ordinary user, or even a business owner or a blogger, use social networks only to communicate with people who are important to you, perhaps at a certain time, so as to be less distracted. Warn your friends about your experiment and that you will be online less often. I think that they will support you. Unsubscribe from unnecessary accounts and news. You know what I'm talking about. Turn off unimportant notifications. And if you cannot resist constantly checking your phone, put it away. And so that to spend your free time effectively, look at how much time on average you spend in social networks and determine how you will spend the time you have. I suggest devoting 1 hour a day to being in silence. This way your brain will be able to analyze what happened to you during this day, to build a picture of the world, and to relax. Devote another 1 hour a day to planning what you want and how you will achieve it. And devote another 1 hour a day to your health and body. Determine what physical activity you like and what your body needs. Stretching, chopping wood, rock climbing, dance, yoga, hiking, and so on. Try different things and choose what you like. Physical activity shouldn't be through self-hatred. If you have a desire, write down your thoughts and feelings in a diary. After the 30 days have passed, do not rush to degrade, plunging in the consumption of stupid content and trying to catch up everything that you missed. Because you didn't miss anything, but only gained. So leave stupid content to die because of uselessness and continue to develop. Besides, busy people really don't have time for social networks, neither to relax, nor to laugh, nor to read the news, nor to chat with friends. It was Valeria, the Off-Road Ranch, and if you want to further complement your impact on our planet, participate in my charity project. For $10 a month for a long-term subscription, I will plant a tree in your honor and I will take care of it throughout my life. In this way, you and I will make our planet greener and cleaner. If you would like to participate in this project, then you can sign up for my Patreon or transfer the equivalent amount in the Monero cryptocurrency. I don't make money from this, but only partially recoup the expenses that I have. And why? You can see in the video number 20. At the moment, only a few trees have been planted. Although some people helped me with medicine after burns, I still planted trees for them, and I will talk about it in one of the following videos. I wish you all the best and see you soon.